Tanzania Investment Center. Dr. Moses, you have your 10 minutes to take us through your presentation. Karibu sana.
Waheshimiwa mawaziri, waheshimiwa makatibu wakuu na wakuu wa taasisi, nina heshima kubwa kuleta presentation ya kuhusiana na overview of investment climate, trade and opportunities in Tanzania. The first slide, please. Yeah, this is the agenda for today. Next. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this slide answers a very prominent question as to why should one consider to invest in Tanzania. We have so many reasons for one to consider to invest in Tanzania, but I just put very few there. The first, which is also very, very important, is that in Tanzania there is peace and stability, and according to very many sources, including the sources about Peace and Stability Index, they have ranked Tanzania among the most peaceful countries in the world, and in Africa it is on the 7th slot, and in the East African region we are the first. So if you are an investor, you are assured that your property is well protected because security organs and the people of Tanzania are very good people. So you are assured of peace and stability, but we also have a good governance and stable post-election and no civil wars. In economic stability, Tanzania is very stable economically. We've been growing by about 7%. For so many years, but even during this time of pandemic, where so many countries suffered, including very large and rich countries in the world, Tanzania has been vigilant. Tanzania has been resilient. We grew by a positive 4.7%. So this is a remarkable evidence that the diversified nature of the economy has been able to make us absorb the shock very efficiently, to the extent that we did not grow by a negative percent. And we also have so many natural resources that one can tap in order to put on an investment. These include the arable land, natural gas. Also, the wildlife that we have in Tanzania is also an attraction for some people to consider to put up investment projects in tourism. But besides having said that Tanzania is politically stable, we also have another advantage similar to that, that your project will be protected because Tanzania has signed so many guarantees, acts that protects the investment of investors in Tanzania. Here I just mentioned some of these, which make sure that your investment is protected, and we have not gotten any problems with people being confiscated their properties or anything like this. We also have a strategic location that Tanzania is surrounded by 6 landlocked countries. Starting from the north, you have Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, Malawi, and Zambia. So if you put your investment, there is enough transport of goods from Tanzania to all these parts which are neighboring Tanzania. But we also have 3 international airports, but we also have 3 ports. These are very well advanced, and they are very efficient to make sure that even your investment is well saved with these infrastructures. But in terms of the infrastructure, we also need to add that the government has been investing so heavily in opening up the country from all corners of the nation to build the roads and bridges, and also we are having a big investment of SGR which is coming on, which all these are there to facilitate the investments. Also we have access to markets through regional blocks, EAC, SADC, but also we have access to markets through the treaties that we have with the other organizations like the EU. So this is a ready market that any investor can be taking advantage of. Next, please. There you see investment categories. There are 3 for simplicity, and we have normal investors, strategic investors, and special strategic investors. They are categorized according to the capital that you have, the minimum capital that you have. As you can see from there, the minimum capital requirement for a foreign investor just for a normal investment is 500,000. It goes all the way up to special strategic investors status, whereby a person or a project need to have a minimum capital of $300 million. So as you proceed from the normal to the strategic, special strategic, you can have access to many incentives for investment. So now I can see that Kenya has got so many people who are interested and who are rich, and who we can have so many people investing in this strategic status. So I will recap a bit on this, but let's proceed. We have investment incentives ranging from fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. We have, for the fiscal incentives, we have exemption on project capital goods, whereby you have zero import duty for the capital goods that you import, and also on raw materials. But we also have capital allowance, depreciation allowance, tax relief on deemed capital goods, whereby if you import your goods, you just pay 25% of the accepted deemed capital goods. So this is a waiver of 75%, which is quite huge. We also have some reduced corporate tax to 20% to some sectors, as you can see there, but also on assembly of some boats and all this. So in terms of the fiscal incentives, if you are a strategic investor or special strategic investor, you have the incentives which are more than these that I have mentioned here, and it's open-ended to the extent that there are so many incentives that you can get if you are in the strategic investor status. Next, please. These are non-fiscal incentives, whereby initially you have you are allowed to have expatriates, five expatriates during the implementation of the project. You bring your 5 experts, nobody asks you any questions whatsoever, and also we have free repatriation of funds, as you can see, net profits and repayment of foreign loans, royalties, etc. Next, please. And now I'm going to talk about the trade between Tanzania and Kenya, and also I'll touch on the region. You see from there, this table has been talked about much, and I want to talk a bit, next please, want to talk a bit about the manufacturing. You can click, please. Yes, manufacturing. You see that this is the project, this is the sector that has got so many projects and also has got so many jobs. Next, please. Next, please. Now, agriculture, I need to point out this figure of 7,415 jobs from 31 projects. This is it's an indication that agriculture is able to generate so many jobs. If you look there, agriculture in terms of jobs generation is next to manufacturing. So this is quite important when we think about creating jobs, which is also a crucial goal for the government of Tanzania to create a total of 8 million jobs by 2025. So agriculture is able to generate many jobs because also the largest percent of population in Tanzania are engaged in agriculture, and it has got a very big multiplier. Next, please. This is a summary of investments that are in Kenya, which have been invested by Tanzanians. The worth is $179.6 million, and able to generate jobs about 2,642 to Kenyans. And we can see the projects, they range from manufacturing of trailers, processing of cassava, starch, wheat milling, etc. This has been discussed a bit earlier, so I don't want to spend more time on this. Next, please. And now this slide talks about the shares of Tanzania's trade in East Africa. If you see the first part of export shares, you see that for exports, the share of Tanzania to the region, to the East African region, has been decreasing. It's large, of course, that Kenya is the destination that we export quite a lot compared to any other country in the East African region, but it has been declining from 84.8, you can see all the way down to 2019 is 40.2% of the exports that goes to the East Africa region go to Kenya. Now, this is a bit diversified, if you see, and it has been going on with a diversified spectrum across these countries from year to year. But I'll come back to this. Let's go to the, now, don't move the slide. If you go down there, you see import shares. That Kenya is the largest source of our imports, so to speak, and the percent, if you look at the percent, is fairly stable. It's more than 80% consecutively from 2015 to 2019. That's remarkable, and I may need to come back on this in a few minutes. Next, please. Next slide, please. So I can summarize that table of statistics with this graph, which shows the trend of trade between Tanzania and Kenya. You see from 2014 to 2015, that pink line there is about exports, and the blue one is on imports. These countries have been able to more or less close the trade gap. As you can see, those lines are moving together. It's healthy, but also is declining. It's declining, and I need to point out a few things on this. If we move to the next slide, please. So for the past 5 years, if you see from 2016 in the previous page up to now, 2020, the trade balance has been in favor of Kenya, although for a very small portion, but it is in favor of Kenya. The major products have been mentioned by my colleagues. Most of these from Tanzania are maize, paper, actually they are agricultural products, and it's wood and timber. Also we have major imports from Kenya to Tanzania, most of the industrial goods, as you can see from there. Next, please. Now I go to the investment opportunities in Tanzania. We have so many investment opportunities, starting with the pharmaceutical and medical equipment. In Tanzania, this is a very lucrative subsector that someone can consider to invest because we import up to 90% of the medical and pharmaceutical equipments that we bring over to Tanzania. And this has been depriving us of our forex. So that is an important area that you can consider to get advantage of opportunities in specialized hospitals and diagnostic centers that exist in Tanzania. Next, please. Agro-processing and fishing there are so many opportunities there in cotton. 80% of the cotton is exported raw. So this is an important area that you can consider to put value addition on ginning, spinning, weaving, and textile and garments. So for cane sugar production, there is also a big potential. In Tanzania, the topography of the soil is very good, and we have so many areas that are surrounded with the rivers, so you can take advantage of the irrigation that can be available to the cane production. But also the cane yield is very good for Tanzania. It's about 120,000 tons per hectare, which is among the largest in the world. In edible oils also, we have some gap that we may need to have some projects to invest in. So you can invest in large-scale farming of oil seeds, establishment of oil seeds processing facility, as well as refineries. But also for fishing and aquaculture, Tanzania has got a very big area of fresh water. It's about 6.1%. And also we have 64,000 kilometers square of the marine waters that can also give an area for people to consider to put fish processing industries. Next, please. We have also opportunities in livestock and leather industry, in animal trading, slaughtering, meat processing, and leather processing. Next, please. In mining and metals, we also have opportunities there. Gold is very vibrant there, 93% of all mineral exports. So you are welcome to take advantage of that opportunity there. Next, please. Oil and gas, there are so many opportunities. About half of the area of Tanzania is having sedimentary basin that is very conducive to have gas and oil, because they have got a hydrocarbon that is very viable for oil and gas refineries. And as examples, we have now the ECOP, which is a $4 billion project, and the LNG is coming forth with about $30 billion worth. So you are welcome to also consider to venture in that area. Next, please. Tourism and leisure is also another area that you can consider. There are so many opportunities there, as you know, including tourism hotels, leisure parks, etc. Next, please. Zanzibar also has got so many opportunities that people can consider to invest, including deep sea fishing, fish farming, agriculture, horticulture, spices, and all that. And if you can contact Zipper, they have all the information about these opportunities. Next, please. In Zanzibar also, there are investment opportunities in export processing zones and special economic zones for industrial and commercial parks, utility plants, and also manufacturing projects. Next, please. Also, there are some available opportunities for first-class restaurants, as well as ecotourism villas in Zanzibar. As I said, you can contact Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority there by following their website. Next, please. Now, conclusively, as we've seen that Tanzania and Kenya have constituted the largest proportion of trade among the East African countries. So this by itself is a very good and a big opportunity that we can utilize, provided that we work on that graph that is slowing down from 2016 for the benefit of both our countries. Also, there is huge underutilized exports potential in Kenya market, and the trade, as we saw, is narrowing and has been stagnated since 2016. We don't know what's going on, but the business community have been discussing some issues there, and I think even in the preliminary you can also discuss maybe there are NTBs or whether there are beggar thy neighbor policies going on. So I expect to hear a lot. Also, there is great investment opportunities in agriculture, value addition, as well as tourism, both in mainland Tanzania and Zanzibar. So, having said this, we go to the next slide. This is to give you a cordial welcome to invest in Tanzania. And the first call for contact in Tanzania about all investment issues is Tanzania Investment Center. And there we have a one-stop center with 10 government institutions, which we can serve you very, very quickly. But we also have an avenue where we meet to solve if there are any problems from investors now on quarterly basis. So we can get to address the issues that the investors are having to make sure that all investors are comfortable to invest in Tanzania and they can consider to expand their investment opportunities. Thank you very much.
Asante sana Daktari Maduhu Kazi, mkurugenzi mkuu kituo cha uwekezaji Tanzania. Asante sana kwa ushauri wako.